Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love and Lore. I'm going to be solo again for this one, and I want to share another personal experience. And I thought this would be perfect because summertime's approaching. It's been getting really hot lately, and yeah, the topic of like confidence and showing off your skin a little bit more and just overall being more exposed out there in the world for the next few months is, I feel like that topic is just very important to address. So I wanted to kind of touch on that today. I want to talk about my experience with psoriasis and what it is and what. So I did some research. Like I literally asked ChatGPT what are the common types of it, what causes it, is it contagious, and possibilities and suggestions on how to treat it and comparing it to eczema and stuff like that. So I'll be sharing some information about that and then also my personal experience with it growing up and also want to talk about confidence with it. And yeah, I just want people to know that it's okay to have stuff like this, like eczema and psoriasis, insecurities and skin issues and body issues and it's summertime and it's a very vulnerable time. So yeah, hopefully I can help someone in some way or shape or form or just simply spread awareness or whatever you want to call it. So we can just get into it. Psoriasis is a chronic autoimmune skin condition that causes rapid buildup of skin cells, leading to scaling, inflammation, redness, and itching. The skin cells multiply much faster than normal, which causes thick, scaly patches to form on the skin surface. Okay, so that's what psoriasis is. And honestly, I didn't really know what it was until this very moment because I never really took the time to research it myself because I was just so scared of what it was. Um, but you know what? This gave me an excuse to do so, and I feel good now that I know what it is. So there's common types, and I didn't even know this as well. We have five types here. There's plaque psoriasis. This is the most common one. It is raised red patches covered with scaly, white scales, often on elbows, knees, scalp, and lower back. Then we have guttate. I don't know how to say this. Guttate psoriasis. These are small drop-shaped spots, usually triggered by infections like strep throat. Then we've got inverse psoriasis, which are shiny red lesions in skin folds, and then pustular psoriasis. Girl, I don't know if I'm saying these right. These are white pustules surrounded by red skin. And then we've got erythrodermic psoriasis, and this is severe widespread redness, peeling, and pain. Those are your five types of psoriasis according to ChatGPT. And what causes psoriasis? So, psoriasis is multifactorial, which means it's caused by a combination of genetic, immune, and environmental factors. If you want to talk about immune system dysfunction, it is an autoimmune condition where T cells, which are a type of blood cell, mistakenly attack healthy skin cells, triggering inflammation and overproduction of skin cells. This is literally bio class. Hey y'all, welcome to bio class. And then genetics. So psoriasis tends to run in families. About 1 in 3 people with psoriasis have a close relative with this condition, which is so funny because literally no one in my family has psoriasis. And then environmental triggers. So these would be your infections, stress, cold weather, skin injuries, certain medications, and smoking and alcohol use. And is it contagious? It is not contagious, so don't worry, y'all. You can't catch it from others. So yeah, that is just a little rundown of what psoriasis is, the different types and causes, and if it's contagious or not. So now I'm gonna jump into my experience and where it all started for me. Okay, so I was in grade 7. Specifically, I remember it was around like May, summertime-ish, and I woke up one day and I noticed on the back of my hands there were like these spider bite looking red dots. And if you don't know what spider bites look like, they're basically like, imagine two red dots side by side, okay? They start off like that, or at least for mine, they started off like that. And I was like, did a spider like bite me overnight? Like I was sleeping on a bunk bed at this time and I was thinking like maybe there's a spider on the ceiling and it just kind of bit me in my sleep. But there were multiple of these guys. There were like 4 to 5 of these on both of my hands and I was like, what the flip? So I was like, okay, and then they were also very, very itchy. And obviously when they're itchy, I was gonna scratch them, right? And I was like, no big deal. It's probably gonna go away. Like it's summertime. And yeah, as I kept scratching them, they started to connect, the red dots. I don't know if y'all can visualize this, but they started to connect. And eventually they started to get bigger and drier and really crusty. And they formed into circles. This is so weird. Like I'm getting chills like talking about this again. But yeah, they started to become really big circles, and I took pictures of these. If you know me personally, I can like show you on my phone, even though you don't want to, but yeah, they became really blotchy, really itchy, really crusty, trypophobia type circles, and I was really scared. At first, I thought it was Lyme disease because Lyme disease is like a bullseye rash looking thing. Even though these were more rashy, and crusty, I was like, wait, I think I have Lyme disease, and I was like really, really scared because that Lyme disease is really serious. And I was like really scared to Google it. I was crashing out, and it was summertime, and I was in grade 7, and I was really self-conscious about it, and it was just not a cute time. But it felt really good to scratch them. They felt so good to scratch, and I hate that so much. But they just became really big circles. And I think I told my parents, or maybe they told me, or they asked me what the heck was happening. I don't know what I said, but I was like, girl, I don't know. I just kept scratching them. And then they also started to form on my elbows. Now, for the elbows one, I don't remember if the ones on my elbows showed up first or my arm or my hands. But either or, they were like the exact same things, circles, large red circles. And another thing about these circle rashes is that they weren't just crusty, but sometimes, this is really disgusting and TMI, but they would sometimes become kind of wet. And if you like touch them, if you like, what do you call it, caressed your finger over them and took your finger off, you would feel like wetness, which is so gross. I hate that so much. But I was like, what the heck is happening to me? And then what's worse is that I used to wear a lot of knitted sweaters at the time. And whenever I would wear my sweaters and they touched my elbows, right? I would like take off the sweater, or I would roll my sleeve up, and my elbow rashes would become, it would like the wool would stick to the rash. This is so gross. But yeah, the wool would stick to the rashes, and then I would have to like peel off the wool from my elbow. Like, this is really, really gross. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's literally what was going on. I remember specifically it was my 12th birthday, and I went to IKEA, and I was wearing one of my wool sweaters, and my elbows were itchy the entire time. And when I got home, I rolled up my sleeve, and my like elbow was full of wool because it stuck to my elbow. Yeah. Um Same thing for my hands. Like, they were also like, if you scratch them for a while, they became kind of wet, and they would also dry up, and then they would become itchier, then it would become bigger. And yeah, I was like, girl, I'm going into grade 8 soon, and I need this to be fixed. Like, there's no way. I started to get questions from my classmates about it, and yeah, I was not trying to go into high school looking like this. So I told my dad I wanted to get this checked. So we went to the doctor, and then that's how I found out I had psoriasis. Yay. And I was like, okay, it's not Lyme disease, it's not something super super serious, it's like an eczema skin condition thing. So that made me feel better, and I remember actually feeling really really proud that I got this checked because I was terrified. I was so scared. Um, and yeah, I found out I had psoriasis. They gave me steroid cream, and I started putting the cream on, and I saw improvements so quickly, so fast. It was really impressive. Like, I was like, this can't be real. And yeah, I still use the same steroid cream to this day. It's gone through many evolutions, and I love it so much. I'm so grateful that the cream exists, and I wouldn't be able to live without it. So yeah, got the cream, and by the time grade 8 came, I was completely, I guess, circle rash free. And one specific fear, I remember this so vividly, but one specific fear I had going into high school if I had these rashes was, oh my God, what if I had to like open the door for someone and they pointed out my hands? Or what if I had to press like an elevator button for someone in high school and they had to look at my hands? And I was very, very self-conscious about it. As time went on, the cream helped a lot. At one point, the circles completely vanished, and the ones on my elbows also completely vanished. And I was like, okay, period, yes. And as time went on, they started to come back like in and out, but not as circles, but as like different forms, right? Like, sometimes they would be on my fingers, sometimes they'd be cuts, sometimes they would be like tiny circle rashes, or sometimes they'd be dispersed. And it was like kind of annoying, but as long as they weren't those rash circles, I was happy. And as long as I had my cream, I was happy. Here and there I would get questions about it. Like, do you have eczema? Like, what happened to your hand? Did you hurt yourself? And I'd have to explain to everyone, but I didn't really care because, yeah, again, as long as I had my cream, I was pretty much a happy girl. I would say they started to flare up again really, really badly in grade 12. It was really bad. I remember specifically going to Austin Mills, and I was having one of my worst flare-ups, and it was summertime. And the worst part about this was I was out of my cream. So I was really, really itchy every single night with no cream. And I was in the fitting room in garage in Tawasin Mills and looking at my hands and just kind of being like, damn, this is really bad. And yeah, I remember also during this time, whenever I wore like hoodies or long sleeves and people were kind of like looking in the vicinity of my hands, I would roll up my sleeves and just cover my hands. Or if I was showing people things on my phone, I would roll up my sleeves and cover my hands so they don't see my hands. And I know people didn't care, but also, it's my hands and it's really, really visible. And I had no cream. Like I was really crashing out there. And like I said, sometimes they would manifest as cuts. I don't know. I'm gonna try to explain this the best as possible, but imagine like closing your hand in a fist, right? Close your hand in a fist, and like the creases. Guys, I don't know how to say this, but like where your joints are, like where your hand kind of bends. Along those bends, I would get cuts, and those were probably the most painful. It also was really painful to wash my hands. I would like dread having to brush my teeth or do my skincare because of my hands and like shower and stuff because it would hurt so bad. But yeah, anyways, besides the point. Yeah, I had like cuts along my knuckles and on the creases of my fingers, and it just sucked. Like it was very, very painful. And it didn't look cute either. So yeah, it also appeared like that. Also along the sides of my hands, like when you write and how the sides of your hand kind of touches your paper and it kind of glides along the paper, I would get rashes along there. And it also became really hard when I had to put cream and then had to use my iPad after to write. The grease of the cream would like go on my iPad screen, and sometimes I had to like roll up my sleeve to kind of cover that. So yeah, that was also pretty tricky to deal with. Or like when I'm anxious or when I'm in a really stressful situation, I would resort to my comfort response, which is scratching my hands, so that made things a little bit worse. Another thing is like when I'm getting my brows done, like when you get your brows done, they ask you to hold your brow up. Whenever I would do that, whoever is doing my brows, they would ask what is wrong with my hands, or they would recommend me their cream that they're selling at their spa, or they would ask me to moisturize my hands more. And yeah, like honestly, the brow place that I go to, all the girls kind of know me, so they know about my hands. But yeah, still like every time I go to a new brow place, they always ask about that. I remember specifically going to get my brows done on campus, and the woman doing my brows, she complimented my lashes. So, I'll give her that. I love her for that. But she also saw my hands and she was kind of recommending me their aloe cream, and I was like, yeah, I use steroid cream, so I don't really need this cream. And she was like, oh, but you can use our cream. It works. And like stuff like that kind of got in the way. But again, I don't really mind. Like obviously they don't know I have psoriasis, and I don't blame them, and I'm kind of used to it. And yeah, and again, as long as I have my cream, I am a happy girl. Fast forwarding to now and like recent years, they've kind of spread to, it's still on my hands, but it's not circle rashes anymore, like I said. They come in and out, and they've also spread, it's also still on my elbows, but they've also spread to my legs and my hips. It's really, really bad on my hips right now. On my left hip, on like the left side of my stomach, like lower stomach and hip, I have really bad rashes there, and it's not okay, it's itchy, but it's not red. I have no idea how to explain it, but it's, I don't know. It looks like pigmented is the best way I can describe it. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it's fine because that part of my body is never really exposed. But it's like, why is it there? Why are you there? And also, yeah, on my legs and on the side of my arms, like up my arms and my hands, but it's honestly not as bad as it used to be. Just the legs and the hips are a new addition to the family. But on my hands right now, like as I'm speaking in this very moment, my hands look fine. They look fine, but they're definitely, you can tell something's going on. But they're not red, they're not itchy, they're not super itchy right now, but it just looks very, my hands just look very wrinkly and very dry and very pigmented, and there's spots here and there. You can tell there's been some scarring, and I don't even know if this is even psoriasis at this point, but on my forearm there's like pigmentation and it's just overall kind of dry, and I do try my best to put my cream. I will say, guys, it's so hard to be consistent with my cream, especially during the winter time. I kind of have to take off my hoodies and take off my sweaters to put on my cream for my arms, and it just became such a tedious task. And at times it felt like it wasn't even doing anything. So it was hard to be consistent with that. And I even made myself like a calendar for AM and PM cream, and sometimes I would skip days, and sometimes they didn't even make a difference, and I would be like, what's the point, and it's like wintertime, no one's seeing my skin anyways, but on my hands, like if it's particularly like really bad that week, I would put my cream. But my doctor, when she told me to put cream, she said put one every morning and every evening, or something like twice a day for 2 weeks at a time. So yeah, I did that, and it's like especially hard during the mornings because you obviously wash your hands a lot, and yeah, you know how that's like. It's like washing your hands with lotion on. I also pack my own portable containers with my cream. I bring it everywhere, like travel size. The last time I got these checked was probably last year, I think, like last year, something like that. It wasn't too bad of a checkup. Like I just kind of talked about what my skin was like, and then I got a new refill of my cream, and it was a pretty smooth process. I was actually supposed to be specialized to a more psoriasis eczema specialist person, but I don't know what happened to that, but that never really happened. But again, as long as I have my cream, I'm good to go. And I actually did some more research on eczema versus psoriasis because I always get people asking me like, "Do you have eczema?" And I'm like, Well, sure, like I do. It's kind of like a variant. It's like called psoriasis, and it's I have to explain everything, and I never knew what the difference was until I did this research here from ChatGPT. And so there's a few differences. So psoriasis is an autoimmune condition, so that means your immune system mistakenly attacks healthy skin cells, causing them to multiply too quickly. That's psoriasis. Eczema is a more inflammatory or allergic skin reaction caused by weakened skin barrier and an overactive immune response to irritants like soap, allergens, or weather changes. And then also genetics and environmental triggers can play a role. So that's the difference between those in terms of causes. And then for appearances, so psoriasis usually shows up as thick, raised patches of skin covered with silvery white scales. The patches are well defined and can feel rough or tight, and common areas include elbows, knees, scalp, lower back, and hands. Eczema tends to appear as red, inflamed, itchy patches that might be dry, cracked, or oozing. Honestly, that's like mine, though. Maybe I do have eczema. Girl, the skin can look raw or swollen, especially if it's scratched. And eczema often shows up in places like elbows, behind the knees, or the neck, face, and hands. So they're kind of similar in a way. In terms of itchiness, it says eczema is typically itchier and it can be intense and persistent. Psoriasis may itch or burn, but the discomfort often comes from more of the tightness and the buildup of scales. And then flare up patterns. So, psoriasis tends to be more consistent with the same patches flaring up repeatedly over time. This is so true, girl. Yes. And then it usually requires long term management. Eczema, on the other hand, can come and go and might disappear for long periods, especially with the right skincare or lifestyle adjustments. Okay, this is cool. Yeah, that's right. And then treatment. So both conditions are treated with topical steroids. Yes, I love my steroid cream. But psoriasis often requires more specialized treatment, like vitamin D creams, light therapy, or immune targeting drugs. And then eczema can be managed with moisturizers, gentle skincare, avoiding triggers, and sometimes antihistamines. So those are the differences between psoriasis and eczema. I did not know this, so this is great news for me. We also have some suggestions for the psoriasis girlies out there. So, using gentle moisturizers, tracking the flare ups, so noting the food you eat, the stress, the weather, and hormonal cycles, avoiding harsh soaps, fragrances, or overwashing your hands, topical corticosteroids. These are good for short term, but long term, you should be monitored by a doctor, seeing a dermatologist, and asking about autoimmune testing and patch testing. And another thing that I didn't mention was I don't use hand sanitizer. I only use wet one wipes or just any sort of wipes because hand sanitizer just stings my hands so bad. I think anyone can relate to this if you have cuts or eczema or whatever. And yeah, especially during COVID, like hand sanitizers are everywhere. I never was able to use those. I always had to bring my own wipes. And when it comes to like picnics or any public events or whatever, everyone would be using their hand sanitizers and passing it around the table and stuff. And I would be like, nope, I'm going to use my hand wipes. So that's another thing. Also, I use foam soap instead of gel soap. And yeah, just overall, like being really careful about what I put on my skin. And also, fun fact, I used to do dragon boating, and a big concern I had with dragon boating was dipping my hands in the water because bacteria from the water can easily enter your hands. And because I had so many cuts, I was like, girl, this is really, really risky. Like, what am I doing? So I had to be careful about that. And luckily, I never got infected by the water, but I don't dragon boat now. But I'm just very lucky that I never got some sort of infection from the water. Yeah, other than that, it's just me and my cream against the world. Now, in terms of confidence and like summertime approaching, I will say like it does get pretty hard, but again, like I could be going through something way worse. Like I'm just very lucky that it's something that can be taken care of and it's nothing too serious. But again, like it comes with its difficulties. Like I worked as a fast food server. I've been a fast food server for like 2 to 3 years now, and a big concern was, serving food and customers seeing my hand and what if they're like, "Why is this girl serving me food with her hand looking like that?" So yeah, I'm not going to say it's never bothered me. It really has, but again, I'm just lucky that this can be taken care of really quickly and really efficiently. And this year is probably the first year in which the rashes have spread this much, like around my body, my hips and my legs and my arms. So this is gonna be a new experience for me. And yeah, I've already like gone out in shorts like a couple times and my shirts and stuff. And it does bother me like looking in the mirror. But again, like what can we do about it, you know? You just have to be confident, girl. You just have to embrace it. And at the end of the day, people don't care. People don't care. Like I will see someone with eczema or psoriasis on the train or something, and I'd be like, "Yes, girl." Like it's so hot when people are just confident, you know? I think when they first started to manifest in grade 7, I think I don't really remember being too insecure about it. I was definitely self-conscious, but I wasn't like crying over it. Maybe I was just like the fact that I didn't have a choice kind of helped. But I just really didn't care too much. Um, I just was more worried about what it was. And then yeah, like as the years progressed, like little things here and there, they were pretty annoying, but again, I didn't really care because I didn't have a choice. Like I couldn't do anything about it. So there was no point in me stressing out about it. So yeah, like if you have no choice, then you kind of have to just learn to love it, you know? I mean, I don't love it, but I love that it makes me different. I love that it makes me interesting, I guess. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I have treatment for it and I have help for it and I have research I can do on it and I can help other people that have it and make people feel more comfortable with their own skin issues if they have eczema or if they're insecure about it. With the cream that I have and the fact that I have to stick to a routine, it helps you build discipline. It helps you keep track of a system and it helps you stay consistent with putting on your cream and taking care of yourself and doing your research and yeah, it just teaches you to appreciate your body because like oh my god, the amount of times my hands have bled because of this thing is crazy. And the fact that my body was able to recover every single time, I'm just so proud of her, like, period. Like, yes. And then on the days where I don't have flare ups or a month where I don't have flare ups, I'm super grateful because I don't have to worry about scratching or I don't have to worry about what my hands look like that month or that week or whatever. And when there is a flare up going on, I'm like, I always have my cream and this will go away soon. And it makes me appreciate the days where I do have clear hands and clear skin. They also look different every single time they come back. Like sometimes they would be up along all my fingers, sometimes they'd be just cut, sometimes they'd be kind of circly. And I would say like the worst flare up ever was during that summer, when I was talking about Twassen Mills and the fitting room and garage and looking at my hands. I think that was the worst. I had like no cream and it was really hot. Another story actually just came up. I was taking my Artona photo for my grad pic and I think my flare up was pretty bad that day. And I remember the photographer like tried to make me pose so that my rashes weren't visible. And I specifically remember that. And I wasn't too offended by it because, like, girl, I wanted to cover it too. Like, we're in this together. But yeah, that was another funny experience. But again, it's really not that bad. Like it's not deep. It's not even that deep. And another thing would be like I call it itch attacks, like at nighttime. Before I sleep, I would be scratching like crazy. Like it's uncontrollable. I will scratch all night long. Sometimes I even think I scratch in my sleep. And oh my god. Or like sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be scratching like crazy. And I would wake up feeling so guilty. so guilty, and I'd be so scared to wash my hands in the morning. I'd be scared to look at the damage. I'd be scared to get up because I did not want to look at my hands. But they felt so good to scratch at night because like nighttime is the best time to scratch, not gonna lie, because no one's looking at you, you're by yourself, and I just scratch all night. And then I'm like, I'm gonna regret this so much in the morning. But yeah, the scratch guilt is so real. But yeah, since summertime is coming up and we're gonna be showing our bodies a little bit more, I just want to say like it's okay to feel self-conscious about it. It's okay to feel worried about what other people think of your skin, but it does not define you. Okay, queen, it does not define you. And the fact that you're brave enough to show off your skin and your imperfections, even though it's not an imperfection, I think is perfect, but the fact that you're able to just show up is really, really hot. And when people do ask me about my hands, I like just kindly explain what it is. And I feel confident doing that because I get to educate someone else so that I don't make fun of anyone else that has eczema or psoriasis or whatever. And just being really open about it, I think it's so important because so many people have eczema. I think even for Filipinos, they're known for having eczema. And I talked about a little bit of my negative experiences, but they they're not that bad. Like I made them sound like really bad, but they're really not. They're just kind of like remarks here and there and just experiences, in my daily life, and like having to wash my hands or using sanitizer or getting my brows done. Like they're not that bad. They're just, inconveniences here and there. But yeah, this summer I will be taking care of my skin as best as I could. I will be putting my cream on every 2 weeks, every day and every night. And I will continue to support anyone that is feeling insecure about their skin or has skin issues or whatever, because I feel you and I love you and you are beautiful no matter what. But yeah, like despite all the difficulties, it really doesn't affect me that much. I'm grateful that it made me more confident over the years, and I'm happy that I can be there for other people that have it. And I'm happy that, when I see other people with eczema or psoriasis, I get really excited because, they get it. And it's something that we can talk about and something that we can relate to. And then, even when I'm in class and we talk about skin stuff, I get excited because I get to learn more about the skin and why certain things happen to our skin. So, yeah, that is all I wanted to cover in this episode. I really hope I helped at least one person, or just hearing my story was very informative, I guess, in my experience. I'm happy that I got to share this. And I think it's really important that we speak up on things like this, especially during the summertime. So, yeah, just be confident out there. And if you have eczema or psoriasis, you are hot on my list 100%. So, yeah, that concludes this episode. I had so much fun doing this one. I will see you guys in the next episode.